welcome to another episode of the Full Force Weekly, brought to you by GeneralsJoes with me, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80. For today's episode, I'm joined by the awesome Patrick Notpicard Stewart and the General himself, Justin Generals Joes Bell. In this regular video series, we round up all the week's news in the world of G.I. Joe. All together, lads. Full Force Weekly.
I think we're out of practice.
I love springing these things.
What is it?
I know. I love springing these things on you guys because you had no idea that was coming, and it just makes it funnier. It makes it funnier. Right. You'll understand one of these days. When you grow up, you'll understand, guys. How is everybody?
When we grow up, we'll better understand how to talk about little toy army men.
Exactly. Like now in our multiple 40s. I don't know what we all are. Justin, how are you doing, buddy? I haven't seen you for ages.
I just had a birthday, but I am still in my 40s. So.
Happy birthday for last week and a bit ago, or was it last week?
Yeah, it was the 17th. It was about 8 days ago.
8 days ago doesn't count. It's over a week. It doesn't count anymore.
It's over a week. All right. Never mind then.
Did you have a nice birthday?
I didn't turn a year older? That means I'm not actually 48 right now?
No, you're only 16, which is great.
All right, beautiful.
You're only 8 years old, actually, if G.I. Joe is anything to go by. Did you have a nice birthday?
Yes.
Did you have a nice day?
It was fine. Yeah. I mean, we more celebrated over the weekend. You know, I had a pretty long, grueling work day that day, so didn't celebrate a whole lot that particular day, but had some family over and did something over the weekend, which was very nice.
Fantastic. And Pat, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay. I'm still excited about the reveals that we had from, I guess I should say 2 days ago, but for me it was only a day ago. Since we're recording this on Friday.
Seems like yesterday. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, mate. What happened? Was there something in the G.I. Joe community, or?
Yes, finally, after how long, we got a very proper crossover of G.I. Joe and Transformers.
Oh yeah,
is so important to me. So yeah, there's the 6-inch stuff was amazing as well, and I'm still digesting that a bit. I rewatched the live stream last night.
And spare 2 hours.
I did. Yes, I spent 2 hours rewatching the live stream because you and I were talking a lot through it, and so there are some things that we missed.
We missed loads, didn't we? When we did the live stream following it, it was like, you'll have to tell us in the comments what this was about, guys. And straight it was like 20 people, like, yeah, of course she comes with a backpack or something. It's like, oh right, good. So
like Stalker's backpack is really cool. You know, I didn't see that, and we were like, did we get to see that? Yeah, we totally saw that. I just didn't. During the stream, we must have been saying something.
I was too busy taking pictures and uploading them, and I had the audio of what Pat was watching in my ear, and it was on TV. It was a mess. But
it's like, what Stalker backpack? And they're like, you took a picture of it, you moron! It's posted on your Facebook page.
It's like literally on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
People are like, what are they actually doing? Nothing. Anyway, right. Well, yeah, lots to get through then. We'll start then with the biggest news of Thursday of the week. And that was in Hasbro 40th anniversary live stream reveals news. What a week it's been for G.I. Joe again. In the lead up to the Hasbro G.I. Joe 40th anniversary live stream, we had a number of leaks, but nothing to really ruin the 2-hour event on Thursday, headed up by Emily, Lenny, Tony, Corey, and special guest Ben from the Transformers team. Now, the night before the event saw an email go out from BBTS to all their customers, revealing that we would indeed see a number of pre-orders for the latest wave of classified figures, including an image showing Stalker, the Twins, and the Viper 3-pack, which was a nice surprise. I reacted with a news burst live stream, and then a little later, rumours of the Transformers G.I. Joe collaborative were confirmed, setting up quite the anxious wait for the online celebration on Thursday morning. Well, what a show it was. There were pre-orders and tons of brand new Dio and packaging images for Stalker, Zaymot, Tomax, the Viper 3-pack, the O-Ring Officer Trooper 2-pack. We had brand new reveals for the classified series Zorana, Dusty, Crimson Guard, Kamakura, Dr. Mindbender, Target exclusive Python Patrol Officer, Tiger Force Recondo, Tiger Force Bazooka, and an official reveal for the first 4 Walmart exclusive classified retro card backs, which will be going live in March for the Walmart CollectorCon event.
Is that all?
I know. My goodness.
Hasbro, what the hell?
There's more. We had a number of cross-brand segments with Tom Walsh discussing the new projects over at IDW, and Scott at Renegade Games Studios revealed a brand new G.I. Joe Mission Critical game with new miniatures. Wave 3 of Super 7 reaction figures were also revealed on the stream, featuring Firefly, Baroness in black, Cobra Commander in dark blue, version 2 Snake Eyes, Flint and Roadblock. With a mention of the new Brawlhalla game that features Snake Eyes, Timber and Storm Shadow, the cross-branding was almost done, but not before the incredible news regarding the Transformers G.I. Joe collaborative Megatron Hiss Tank with O-Ring Baroness. The show finished with a Q&A segment, and that's pretty much everything. Oh yeah, and Wayne Ruthell got his code name, Failsafe. Crazy show, wasn't it, Pat?
Yeah, it really revealed a lot, and it wasn't one of those live streams. Yeah, it wasn't one of those live streams where there's been things mentioned in the community and then they just don't address it. No, they addressed everything. They really put it all out there, and I think they did a nice job with this.
Did you enjoy that one, Justin?
I did, yeah. I mean, it's unfortunately I was back-to-back meetings at work all day, so I wasn't able to participate in the live stream. I had to kind of watch it after the fact, and yeah, I mean, I was actually stunned, when I went on, kind of the YouTube video after it had gone up and everything and saw how long it was. It's like, wait a minute, what? This is crazy. It had 2 hours. I mean, it was kind of nuts, but, and yeah, they had, like you said, they had some of those cross-brand stuff in there, but there was a ton of stuff revealed. I mean, all the different pre-orders that, we had been revealed in render form, a month or so ago, are now available for pre-order, and then all the new things that they just kept on showing and showing and showing. Kept on expecting, like, okay, Dusty, Crimson Guard, okay, oh, Zorana, oh, okay, and then it just kept on coming and coming. There was like, it was.
So did I.
Yeah. Only when they showed Dr. Mindbender's codpiece, I think that was the trigger point.
I said on the live stream that I want to wear just that metal codpiece and the braces, but could you imagine how, like, I'd have to shave everything first? Like,
and I have imagined, Chris. Don't ask me if I can. I have.
You've seen the pictures.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to imagine.
It would be like it would be like a Borat mankini, wouldn't it? That thing.
Pretty much.
Silver.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. Highlights. Pat, what were your standouts? I know one of them, but I mean, give us a few standouts for yourself.
Yeah. The biggest one, obviously, was the crossover. I could talk about that for a long time. Aside from that, I would say that I didn't actually enjoy seeing Lady J and the retro carded stuff. I think that Emily's plan of kind of teasing us at first with the render of just the figure and then showing the accessories later, I think it's going to work, because looking at that Lady J, who we really only got a glimpse at Lady J, she was never the focus of the camera person. Whoever it was that was taking footage showed us the other three really well, but Lady J was never really directly in the shot. So we kind of see her accessories, but not really all that well. But I think that looking at that, the accessories are selling the figures.
Oh, yeah. I mean, thanks to Pat's enhance capabilities, he sent us an image, real close-up of Lady J, and you can see there that she's got her retro backpack, or, a retro-inspired backpack. She's got the kind of spear gun as well. Like, there's like a little silver piece in the top right-hand corner, which looks like the kind of handle that the spear attaches to create a launcher. The camera's in there in green, which is great. So there's like loads of cool little bits and pieces in there. And then the figure, one of the things, because I was looking so closely at the actual, accessories, I didn't even look at the figure, and the figure looks actually really cool. Like, I don't know if they've done anything different to the actual figure. I think it's just deco, isn't it?
Yeah, she had said prior to that they gave her kind of like a 1980s style makeup that she's wearing, and then of course she has the black hat that she's wearing this time. So a little bit of different deco on her, but I really think that the accessory complement is where it's at for that figure. Yeah,
she looks great. Justin, couple of standouts for you as well, buddy.
I think number one standout, which of course we've heard rumors about previously, is the Crimson Guard. I just think I have such an affinity for the whole Crimson Guard cadre. It's such a cool element of Cobra to me, kind of the lawyers and accountants who are, secret agents in disguise and just the elite troopers they are. I've always really loved the Crimson Guard ever since they first came out in 1985, and it was really cool to see them, recreated in 6-inch form. That just really, really appealed to me. I absolutely loved it. And Kamakura was actually a really awesome surprise as well. I mean, just the fact that they're dipping into that era of G.I. Joe makes me hopeful that there's other kind of eras of G.I. Joe that they may dip into from time to time.
I wonder which
I am purposefully going an entire show without saying the S word. So
Pat's like, what is he talking about? He never mentions it. He never ever.
But yeah, I mean, and plus it's a pretty cool looking figure. And not only that, I think it could be used as a template for all sorts of other figures, a bunch of Ninja Force figures. And I think it's really awesome to kind of see it in there because, not only does it make a pretty neat Kamakura, but it's also a nice little template for some other stuff. Dr. Mindbender is, and actually a sleeper hit for me, I think, was Zorana. I like Zorana. She's pretty cool. I didn't really like in sort of the later issues of the Marvel run. She was became sort of a Cobra leader of sorts. She was like Cobra Commander's right-hand man, and that never really appealed to me. So as a result, I have got some kind of mixed feelings for Zorana. But the way they've executed her with kind of the faded paint in the hair and the 80s style makeup like they did with Lady J, the little adjustments to the shirt turning it into a jacket, stuff like that is kind of why I'm a little bit, the figures are gorgeous and I love them, but I do wish that they would take more chances in modernizing some of their looks. I realize it's not what the majority of the fandom wants, but I think they've proven that when they do that, like they did with Zorana, that it makes a big difference. Yeah.
Some of my favorites have that balance where they're recognizable, but they've got some really upgrades going on. The Cobra Trooper is nothing like his vintage version. I mean, he's a totally different figure, and he's one of my favorite figures in the line. I mean, agreed.
So I think there's ways to do it, and who knows? There's plenty of time and space for them to do more of that going forward, and I hope they do. But I understand why they're giving the fans sort of more of what they want. But I think those were kind of some of the standouts. Obviously, the Tiger Force figures were looking really cool. Another example of what would have been a cool improvement is maybe some backpack straps on Bazooka instead of his backpack kind of floating there. But I don't want to make it seem like I'm nitpicking, because really they showed some amazing, impressive stuff all the way through, and the classified line is just really gathering steam and is hitting all of the right notes in pretty much every way. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Viper 3-pack and all the different blast effects. That's something that people have been asking for a while. And so sorry, I'm regurgitating all of this.
I was going to say your highlights are everything.
Everything. I wasn't on the show yesterday. I couldn't spend 3 hours gushing over like you guys did. So.
You gush, my man. If you do want to see even more detail that we go into with that, obviously check out the Newsburst live stream, which we did yesterday, which we did on Thursday. Yeah, you guys
killed it on that. Yeah,
literally 2.5 hours as well. I wanted to beat Hasbro. I was like, we're going to go longer.
I actually think that I expected that you were still streaming, that I would just hop on again.
when you got back from work at like 3 in the morning or something. Chris is still on.
Funny.
That would have been great. You should have just put like a cardboard cutout of yourself there and gone to work and then just come back, and I never would have known. That's like me saying you never say anything, Pat. That's not true.
Right. And yeah, of course. I mean, the Hiss tank as well is something. The Hiss tank Megatron with Baroness is just. It's, as a Joe fan and a Transformers fan, it's like a dream come true. It's the perfect meshing of both universes. I've heard some Transformers fans kind of bemoaning the chunky Hiss armor on the back of the tank. I don't know how else they really could have done it. I'm really glad they preserved the look of the Cobra Hiss rather than making it silver or something to align with the Transformer piece. I don't have a problem with it at all. I think it looks really amazing, and it's a really unique collaboration, and I'm looking forward to what else might be coming out of that.
Well, while we're talking about that, good segue, Justin Bell. There was a really interesting piece of information kind of sneakily out there on the packaging for this Hiss Megatron and Baroness. And it says on there's like a little bit of text on there that basically insinuates a bumblebee possibly around the corner, which I mean, these hints generally lead to something, don't they? Let's face it. Like there's very few times that it doesn't go anywhere. And I imagine that there's going to be more Transformers G.I. Joe collaborations, especially with the introduction of O-Ring going into these figures. It feels like there's more than just one. This is more than just a one-off, isn't it?
Well, based on the buzz I saw on social media for this,
Sorry,
I mean, well,
good, yeah, pun intended there.
Pun intended, right? Yeah, I'd like to pretend that I'm that clever. That was pure coincidence. But based on the buzz on social media, I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, by and large, the Megatron hiss was, what I saw discussed the most, and not just in G.I. Joe circles, but in across the fandoms. So I think it's clear that there is an appeal, across the board for more of these. And, it certainly would make sense. Bumblebee's kind of been the de facto sort of Autobot focus, with this solo movie. And even going back further than that, he was kind of the focus around the Transformers films, at least the beginning of them, focus around, some of the Transformers animated features. So yeah, he's certainly become kind of the central pillar in the Transformers universe.
He's kind of like the roadblock of Transformers, isn't it?
Yeah, I do think.
Actually, I say that as a joke, but it kind of is the case, isn't it?
It's very much the case.
Yeah,
because there was a period of time where both of them were not the focal point of that brand.
Exactly, it was Duke / Prime / yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but then it came back around to go, you know what? Back in the earlier days, they were major players in the cartoon, so we kind of need to bring them back and make them more of a focal point. And then when they did, they really took off, especially in the movies. It's actually a very good comparison.
Yeah, totally. I meant that, guys. So just saying, putting it out. That was an accident. I'm just trying to be a smart ass, and it backfired in a good way. Then
no, you're exactly right. It's a good comparison.
I think we also should mention that wasn't just a bit of fan speculation. Hasbro, whenever they started showing off the package, mentioned that maybe there was a hint of something on that little blurb. So it was like, hey,
they were dropping
read into this.
They were dropping hints all throughout that, which we'll get to in a second. But I just want to ask you a question here, Pat, directly. If it is, let's just say, for argument's sake, we're talking about Bumblebee here with this hint. How do you think they should go about this? What kind of G.I. Joe vehicle would you expect them to kind of go with Bumblebee? And also, would you put another O-Ring figure in there?
Yes, and yes. The blurb says that I think a land vehicle is approaching. So it's going to be Bumblebee. It's going to be a land vehicle of some kind. I think that it needs to have an O-ring figure. It needs to be kind of the same approach. Include an O-ring figure that is carded with it, and also make it so that once transformed, it really looks a lot like that original G.I. Joe vehicle, and the color of the Transformer will be mostly hidden in vehicle form, and then transform out. And of course, it's Bumblebee. We're going to be seeing yellow whenever it transforms. So I don't think that we need to even think of matching Bumblebee to any yellow G.I. Joe vehicle.
I don't think that's the case, no.
I think that all we need to think of is maybe smaller G.I. Joe vehicles that are also iconic as possible as G.I. Joe vehicles. Vamp, maybe. Vamp seems like it deserves to be Hound to me.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't think that it'll be anything as obscure as like you're not going to have a Silver Mirage turning into Bumblebee. That's not going to happen.
What about?
Small.
What about if they just did? Do you remember in the comics there was the Jeep? Like towards the end of the comics, there was a Jeep that appeared out of nowhere, and it was like a 12-inch. They only did it in 12-inch. They didn't do it in
the Rhino.
The Rhino,
Was it the Rhino with the kind of like the launcher on it and everything? And it's basically like a really old school military Jeep, isn't it?
I mean, Rhino,
maybe.
I think they did it. Did they do it in the Hall of Fame, or was it
actually
it was
in
the
the
regular 12-inch? I don't remember.
Yeah,
it was one of those 12-inch lines.
It was definitely around. It was around
Hall
that.
of Fame,
it was around that kind of like later. I'll just throw my pen
over
there.
They reused it, I believe, for Action Man as well.
Because do you think they could do something like that for him? Because obviously Bumblebee has been a Jeep, like a military-style Jeep.
I'm going to say no, because if they
not iconic enough,
and Bumblebee turns into the Rhino from Hall of Fame, people will be like, "I don't remember this."
Yeah.
So I really think that we need to be looking from like 1982 to 1986. Striker would definitely be on the short list.
You see, like, but in the similar way that you mentioned, Hound deserves to be the Vamp. I kind of feel like Beachcomber deserves to be the Ore Striker, or stay with me on this. Beachcomber deserves to be the Eco Striker. So maybe there could be a bit of space.
Colors are there. Yeah.
That was what you actually held me off from saying.
I knew it.
Yeah, I mean the Ostriker is another one of those vehicles that has certainly kind of taken over the lexicon of G.I. Joe's. Kind of, I mean, it's appeared all over the place in the line. And it was even on the Jada Toys card art or whatever. It was all the Ostriker. So it's certainly in everybody's face as being kind of a keystone G.I. Joe vehicle for sure.
Yeah, and if they did do Bumblebee as the Ostriker, it would make the Eco Striker an easy repaint. But then an Eco Striker repaint is going to make a septic tank also kind of a shoe-in to go against it, like just a big $200 pack with septic tank versus Eco Striker. That'd be sweet.
Oh, okay, you sold me. What O-ring figures would you throw in with? We'll talk about this Eco at the moment that you've got going on. Would you have like Flint versus Cesspool, or what would you do in that sense?
Yeah, I'm not really sure if I would want the tank to turn into Generation 2 Megatron or to turn into Toxitron.
Toxitron
and
would
that
be good.
Kind of is whether or not there's an Optimus Prime.
That's good
turn
because
into Toxitron.
That's a good point, because obviously there'd be repaints, so you could make them different characters, and you wouldn't necessarily have to have it as Bumblebee and Megatron again. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. I think, Toxitron versus Beachcomber.
Well, you know what? Come to think of it, they've got to do an Optimus Prime at some point. So let's just make this imaginary thing a 3-pack that includes a repaint of Prime as Toxitron, includes Generation 2 Megatron turning into a septic tank, and includes an Ostriker or an Eco Striker that turns into Beachcomber.
My goodness, what a set.
That's my imaginary 3-pack. And by the time it comes out, it'll probably be $350. But I don't care. I'll order it right now.
Yeah. Can I have that now? All right. Well, coming back to Bumblebee, who do you think pairs up nicely with him as an O-ring figure? Like, we'll ignore the vehicle.
Honestly, Roadblock. Now that you've said it, Roadblock.
Okay.
I think that'd be cool.
Got it sorted then. Bumblebee and Roadblock coming up next.
Yeah, and he's not a single pack release yet, as far as we've heard. I don't think the Roadblock, because I think that's another key piece. Is it would be a figure that hasn't been available yet as a single release or a 2-pack as they have been coming. So,
were we getting any hints? That's the other thing I wanted to talk about in this. Were we getting any hints of O-ring figures in like the weight screen that we had, or that initial TV screen that we were shown? Like, I sent art to you guys kind of look at that, because there's like a Snake Eyes versus Storm Shadow that are pictured there that I'm not sure where that art is from. The Storm Shadow definitely looks like that
looks like the Mego.
Yeah, but it's been heavily photoshopped, and then Snake Eyes really isn't. And then we also saw Scarlet, and then there was that Cobra Commander that appeared that we haven't really seen. So maybe this was art that maybe was going to be some Mego things if they even do more of that. I don't know.
To be honest, for me, it just feels like they're just using all of what's available to. Excuse me. All of what's available to them, but then obviously it's also coming out of the same packet of assets that all of the licensees are using as well. Yeah. So to me, it just feels like everyone's just using the same assets in that sense. But I do agree with you on this, though. I think there are some things we could probably gauge from it. There is a Roadblock on there, on that main weight screen, and again, he's like a kind of turned into like one of the main characters, hasn't he? Over the years, I mean, he's always been a major character in most eras, but like he seems to be kind of like almost like he's hit all of the generations in a sense, hasn't he? So like I could definitely see that happening, and I mean they're all the core characters you expect to see anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is true. I guess we would. If you're going to give us a hint, just showing the core character or core character hump, as we've been putting it, which I'm not really worried about in a G.I. Joe Transformers crossover. I think that we have to. I mentioned it yesterday. We have to be realistic. I can't imagine them ever doing something as large that would be like a star screen. But we could get a sound wave. They could maybe do two or three Autobots, 2 or 3 Decepticons. I think maybe the limit.
Yeah,
if this does go on,
I could see that too. I would like it to be a line that just continued, just burst into its own thing, like rather than a collaborative, just became a Transformers G.I. Joe kind of line. I think that would be amazing. And I'd like the fact that, you know, you get O-ring figures with it, and they get in, and you can actually operate the vehicles in. It's just so. It's one of those things that we've all dreamt about. Like we've talked about this for so long. You know, we've as long as I've been a child and collected both brands, I have wanted this to happen. So like the fact that it's actually happening now is like. It's mind blowing because you know that.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Sorry, Justin.
Chris, for you, I'm trying to remember which. Well, obviously it would have been the 2011 JoeCon, which was in Providence, and we got a tour of the Hasbro offices and actually showed some test things that were G.I. Joe scale Transformers that actually transformed. But I mean, these were big. Like I think I remember one being like a bomber jet or something that was huge. But yeah, I mean, clearly it has been something that kids have wanted probably ever since, you know, they did the G.I. Joe versus Transformers limited series back in the Marvel Comics days. Yeah. But yeah, we've only kind of gotten teased with this sort of thing with the Comic-Con sets, with the homages, like the Power Glide repaint, the blue repaint,
Viper.
That's the Viper. Yeah, exactly. It's stuff like that has sort of been like little homages, little teases here and there, but to get the full blown actual thing it's a whole other situation. And I think it's really satisfying a lot of different camps. And I've seen people that aren't G.I. Joe fans and they're not Transformers fans. They're just kind of 80s nostalgia fans that have been drooling over this thing and saying how cool it is. So
I will say that I don't expect to see like the Rattler or the Sky Striker or anything like that. I don't expect to see that because you're talking like, obviously I understand why this hasn't been done so comfortably in the past because of the engineering it takes and I mean the level of tech to actually get this to operate properly and know-how is actually quite advanced. So so when you're talking, and then obviously talking scale issues up the wazoo, when you start bringing in vehicles that aren't within that scale of these Transformers. And I kind of feel like they've gone in the right direction with Megatron, because especially when you look at the comic and how he was brought in as the G2 tank, the scale doesn't look too bad between Baroness and a Hiss tank. Now that makes sense size-wise with Megatron in his robot form. But then if you get in like I don't know, like say for example, Thundercracker as a Rattler, for example, you know, you do that, or Viper, he'd be massive. And he'd dwarf Megatron, and that wouldn't be the case, would it? Like, so I know that there's a weird balance going on here, and you can only
we needed an almost $300 HasLab just to get a Sky Striker with that didn't transform. I mean, if they were talking about some kind of Starscream Sky Striker that did transform, what are you talking about for cost there? I mean, I think it would price out a lot of people. A lot of the casual fans who might be grabbing Megatron for $90 are not going to be grabbing this one for $400 or whatever.
Sponsored by SpaceX, this one. Elon Musk has decided to help out on this one, guys. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for what it could mean, but at the same time, I'm gonna I'm probably gonna temper some of my expectations because
you did bring up a great point about the Megatron too. Is that they're kind of probably purposefully hamstrung a little bit now with the size of these things that they can do, because you start risking, having a character, I'm trying to think of like Warpath. So they do Warpath and they want to make him a Mauler or something like that. And all of a sudden Warpath is like double the size of Megatron. And it's
Power Glide.
How would that, I don't know how that would all work.
Sea Spray Whale, that kind of thing.
That would be cool, but that would also be, way too big.
I think we'd be
squash Megatron like a bug.
We'd be getting into HasLab territory, I think, when we start getting to those sizes. But I think they'd probably still, when it come to a HasLab, they'd probably still focus on really iconic characters. Yeah. Like I could see them doing, if they do Prime, I could see that as a HasLab because of the size of him, Yeah. But that would be, the Transformer would be the same as Megatron, but the rest of him would have to be done in, I don't know, Rolling Thunder maybe? I don't know.
It would be interesting. I don't know if the Rolling Thunder vehicle is iconic enough. That's where you get into trouble because, I don't know. I mean, Prime is going to be difficult to do because, I mean, you could do like the APC might work. I don't know if that might be iconic enough to be a Prime. I don't know. It's a tough call.
Somebody mentioned you could do the APC and then you could have like Ironhide and Ratchet in those, and Ratchet you could deck it out as like a like a medic kind of thing, like all white with the red cross on it and everything. And I was like, that is kind of nice, but I don't know. I just feel like Prime needs a big vehicle, and he needs that front, doesn't he? He needs the windows and the chest.
Well, they can hide a lot of that stuff with Kibble, but I think it's still it's distinctive enough. The window breasts are distinctive enough that you want that to be part of the vehicle mode if possible.
Like on the HISS tank, where the whole HISS tank's on the back, you'd have that just long canopy, the APC just sticking out like a really crap cape.
It would detach and disappear into nowhere. Yeah, the canopy would just be like all gone. And
See ya.
Just Prime.
Amazing. Right, okay, well, I think we've discussed that enough. If you, like I said, if you want a bit more detail on all our thoughts on all of the reveals, you can check out Pat and my Newsburst live stream that went up. And yeah, check it out, it's fun. And only 2.5 hours long. Right, next up then, guys. I think that kind of covers everything for Pulse. We did not Pulse, everything we did for the live stream. I can't think of anything else like that imperative. You guys cool with all that?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Good. I just don't want to be the only person that...
I could go on forever about that, but I think that for the sake of time...
Yeah, plus you spent 2.5 hours on it yesterday, so...
Well, I did. Pat bounced after like 20 minutes. I'm kidding. He was there.
It wasn't quite that, was it?
No, you were there for ages, mate. You were even later than you said you wanted to leave, so that's fine. I'm just kidding. Right, anyway. So next up then, guys, and in Mezco news. Mezco Toys dropped even more 112 collective G.I. Joe reveals last weekend during their Mezco Toy Fair 2022 online event, and no, none of them were Firefly. They started with Snake Eyes, posting 2 images of the figure against 2 dramatic backgrounds and highlighting quite a lot of the figure. Storm Shadow followed suit a few days later with an image showing his head and upper torso side on. No pre-orders just yet, and there will still be a number of product images to follow, but they both look really cool so far. I covered the news of these reveals with a few live streams, so thank you to everyone who commented and joined in for those shows. It's truly appreciated. As we get info on these figures and the confusingly absent Firefly figure, we will let you know. Justin, are you liking these reveals, or is it more the same kind of core character hump here?
I mean, I think we knew they were coming. I think the reveals are neat. I'm not sure they bring a whole lot of new flavor to the table. I mean, we didn't see a ton of detail yet. They haven't been posted on Mezco's site, so we don't get like the dozen images with all the different accessory breakdowns and everything. But, I think it'll be as we expect it to be to a degree. I think with what we've seen so far, they have done some subtle tweaks to the design of like Destro and Roadblock, and it looked like Firefly a little bit. These guys look like they might be trending a little bit more vintage style, but I think anybody who knows anything about Mezco and about G.I. Joe knew that they were going to do these 2 figures eventually. I think we were all surprised.
They
weren't
did
the
them
first
first.
2 they announced. Yeah,
definitely.
But yeah, I think that they look fine. They look good. I'll be excited. I'll be looking forward to kind of more detailed images. I'm sort of on I did pre-order both Destro and Roadblock. I'm straddling the fence a little bit about how deeply I want to get into the Mezco 112 space, just because Classified has really ramped up its offering so much that I'm not sure I need another 112 line to kind of complement what Classified is already doing so well. And I'm really not sure I need another Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow on my shelf. So, I'm considering, I'll see what they look like when the pre-orders finally go live. But yeah, it was cool to see them anyway. I think they look great for what they are.
Pat, where's Firefly? Can you tell us?
I have no idea. which is scary because it's Firefly. He could be doing anything.
He could be sabotaging this show.
He's shaking his face all around so we can't see him.
Anyway, sorry, that always gives me a headache when I do it. I don't know why I bother.
Well, he's wearing camouflage too, so he could be like right behind you, Chris. But you can't see him because he's got his camouflage.
Faceless, you can't see me. Does that actually work? Probably doesn't.
Not in your case. No.
Camera's probably like really good, and it's just like doing that. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised about this, but I'm surprised. One, like you said, I'm surprised that Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow weren't done first. but also a little bit glad. But then I'm kind of thinking, I wonder why they've done them back to back on the reveals here, because I figured like a little bit of space between, maybe like, you know, get that Firefly in between the two of them. Or something like that. Because, like, again, I thought, like, Pat, we discussed this a little while ago about Jada. I thought they were I thought they were done with the license and it was moving on. And then all of a sudden we get these two. I mean, are you excited for Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow?
You know, 6-inch isn't really my focus at all, but as I've said before, the way that the brand is handling the classified line, I just haven't found any of them that I can put down and not buy. And honestly, I haven't bought any of the Mezco stuff yet, but that Storm Shadow looks really good. Storm Shadow was, as a toy, the first thing I ever bought with my own money.
Aww.
So he has like that special spot for me. And looking at this one, that I want to see the rest of the figure, but the head sculpt looks really nice. I like the way that the stitching, like the sculpted in stitching, that looks like it actually is kind of moving on his head, that it's not perfectly straight down over there, that there's a little bit of puckering where it, you know, he's pulled his mask on. So it looks really good.
They've made something very like simple look very, very cool, haven't they, with the detail on it? You know, I agree with that. It makes
it look more real.
Yeah.
This is what I like about realism in toys. A lot of times you hear realism and it's just somebody doing bad weathering on a custom. Like, no offense to people who really enjoy doing that, but this is what I really appreciate in
None
realism.
taken.
Why do you do that a lot?
No, I'm just speaking on behalf of all of the listeners and viewers that have just gone, what?
Well, they're not on the show anymore, so they're not going to hear you
just
anyway, Chris.
Out.
They just gave Pat the finger and dialed out.
Well, whenever it's done well, it's done well.
Of course,
but there's just been some
right.
times, especially some 90s toys that I'm thinking of that I won't specifically mention, that it wasn't really weathering. It was just smeared paint.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and that doesn't look good for realism. But this, to me, is what I want out of realism in an action figure. So it looks really good. They're definitely tempting me by how good it looks.
Totally.
And I actually think it's a good idea to release Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow so close together, because this is Visor Snake Eyes, and they could do another Snake Eyes later on down the road. So they'll want to have space in between that, maybe even space in between doing Cobra and G.I. Joe Storm Shadow. So
yeah,
I think that getting them together almost makes sense, because people may want to pre-order them at the same time just to ensure that they get both of them.
Yeah. I've got to say, like with these two, I'm looking forward to seeing more images, looking forward to see what accessories they come with. Yeah. Some people were saying, oh, no timber. Yeah, but we don't know that yet. Right. It could very well be a timber with the Snake Eyes. If not, there could very well be a timber with another Snake Eyes they do.
Is Mezco going to do a better 6-inch scale timber than Hasbro already did?
Maybe they would. Maybe they were going to.
Maybe they would.
Then
I don't know.
When the Alpha Commandos dropped, they maybe thought, do you know what? Maybe theirs is a bit better, but does it bring any?
Maybe.
Does it give? You know, maybe we can cost this out, and it won't be much of an issue.
Yeah, I mean that classified timber in my mind is about as good as it gets. I mean, I can't imagine what Mezco could do that would improve on it. I mean, maybe
real hair, perhaps.
Well, I don't think that would. I don't think that would look well. That would look good, but who knows? They have this talent with their soft goods that is nothing like anything anybody else can do. You know, I've got a couple of their Daredevil figures, and it's just, I mean, it looks form-fitting. It doesn't look like it's cloth on a 6-inch figure. So who knows? Maybe they got a talent with wolf hair. I don't know.
That was a joke, by the way. I don't expect them to do a hairy timber.
I'm going to be disappointed if they don't now. If they don't, I'm going to like put them on blast and say, Chris said you were going to do real wolf hair timber.
Chris said it, so it must be true. Yes. Yeah, I agree with you on the Alpha Commandos timber. I think he's absolutely gorgeous. It's one of my favorite figures in the line is the tiny timber. Well, he's not tiny. He's a good old size. Yeah, I'm really liking the way they're doing their animals, and the Fiona looks unreal. Like I can't wait for Crocmaster to come out. Like that can't come soon enough for me. I'm also kind of excited when I think about the animal companion. Sorry, tangent, but I'm thinking like Voltar, Raptor, I'm thinking of those kind of characters. How good, we've seen obviously Spirit and Freedom, and I'm just thinking, imagine Voltar or Raptor.
Raptor would be amazing. Oh my goodness,
so good.
And amazing.
You'd be like almost expecting multiple animal companions with Raptor.
I was going to say that too. Like he might come in a big box set with. I mean, I don't know if he's an iconic character enough to be worth a $40 box set.
Yes,
to me and to you, he is.
An aviary box set.
Oh my goodness, with like different cages and birds and all sorts of different poses and his accounting textbooks or something. And oh man.
Exactly.
A desk and a swivel chair so he could actually do Cobra Commander's taxes.
How good, with like a little tax form with like little like hinted information on there to go in.
You watch. Hasbro's watching this right now, and
they're going, right,
W2 next year's exclusives. Yeah, exactly.
W2, Cobra Commander's real name. They could put his real name on there. Stephen Jeffries. Apologies to all the Stephen Jeffries out there who have called Cobra Commander. I don't know what his name is. Did they ever? They've never revealed his name, have they?
Not. I mean, there's been like this Fred Broca thing, kind of, that was the Crimson Guards, and I'm trying to remember if that was actually. And then there was in Renegades. Well, I can't remember what his name was in Renegades. He did have a name in the G.I. Joe Renegades animated. Adam DeCobre, maybe something like that.
Oh, okay.
But none of it actual like canon as far as we're concerned.
Stephen Jeffries, it is then. Right.
All right. I'm on board.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah, well that is Mezco effectively. Still no sign of Firefly, which I've got a feeling that Firefly might be the next pre-order and the next batch of images, and then we'll see pre-orders for Snake Eyes and then Storm Shadow. That's how I think it's going to go. Like, if we still don't get any information about Firefly, I'm just going to be like scratching my head, like what are we doing here? But yeah, I desperately want to see Firefly. This has become like an obsession of mine now. Mezco Firefly, I have to see it. One last thing I will say on this, guys. Any particular characters you'd like to see Mezco attempt, Justin?
I mean, you know my favorite character is, but I mean, really what I'd love to see them do is I'd love to see them do a Zartan, because I think a Zartan in that format with all the different accessories they do,
totally.
They could do a bunch of different face masks. I mean, with the soft goods, they could actually do some kind of removable outfit sort of thing. I think Zartan could be a really cool candidate for some interesting soft goods stuff in a 6-inch scale.
So you just want to take his pants off, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Doesn't everybody?
Yeah. Pat, what about you? Not do you want to take Zartan's pants off, as in what character would you like to see?
His tank, Megatron.
In the 6-inch scale? That's the next HasLab.
With that like Michael Bay Megatron cape that he's wearing, kind of like, yeah. Okay.
Baroness is probably a shoo-in for what I would like to see.
That's true, actually. No female figures on the horizon just yet. So yeah, that's a good shout. Personally, yeah, it's Lightfoot for me. Right, moving on, and it should have been Hit and Run for you, and it should have been version 3 Snake Eyes.
I mean, obviously, I would love to see Hit and Run, but yeah, I'm mixing it up a little bit.
I'm glad. What do you want to see, guys? Let us know in the comments below. What do you want to see Mezco attempt? Are you excited for these?
But his armor's got to be like real snake scales or something. It's got to be, or metal or something like that.
He's got to come with a stiff snake as well, hasn't he?
Yes, stiff snake.
Enough of that and Pythona's sticky clam. Let's move on to the...
I'm uncomfortable.
Let's move on to the last news item of the week, and that is in Hasbro news. Hasbro has pledged to lower its carbon emissions in a company-wide effort to fight climate change. The toy and entertainment giant has joined the Science Based Targets Initiative, a global initiative that aligns with the most ambitious goal of the Paris Agreement to reduce the impacts of greenhouse gases on human society and nature. They didn't announce a specific emissions reduction goal, saying they will set both near-term 2030 and long-term 2050 targets later this year. The goals will be set in collaboration with SBTi, a global entity that has developed a science-based corporate net zero standard that companies may adopt. The news comes just as the recent Viper 3-pack pre-order was announced, a set that features zero plastic packaging and, as Emily stated on Thursday's live stream, will continue with all the classified figures in the future in a plan to phase out all plastic packaging by the end of 2022 across all of their brands. Pat, what are your thoughts regarding how this will affect some of your favourite brands like G.I. Joe and Transformers?
Yeah, we're already seeing it in Transformers a bit. Coronation Starscream I was, just kind of surprised. It was interesting to see it sitting there on the shelf with no window at all. It's a relatively medium-sized toy, like with a Rodimus Prime had come out prior to that, and he's kind of big. And for a while now, the big Transformers, like they didn't have a window box on Fortress Maximus, but you don't really expect that.
No.
And Rodimus Prime, a little bit smaller, also not a window box, okay. But whenever it came down to Coronation Starscream and seeing it on the shelf with no window, it's like, oh, they're really going for this. But, the art on the package sold us for G.I. Joe vehicles back in the day.
Yeah.
So I think that it can continue to sell us. There is a little bit of a strangeness, though, whenever there is a window and there is no plastic, because I did buy Ravage from the Bumblebee movie. I kind of had to get him once I got Soundwave from the Bumblebee movie.
Is this you changing your rules to accommodate?
Oh yeah, for sure. I have. Well, I don't buy Michael Bay movie, but Michael Bay didn't make that movie, so
yeah. Good point. Points for Pat.
The Bumblebee movie designs are actually not bad.
No, they're really nice.
That I had, they're actually really good.
Yeah.
So some of those toys that they've shown also of some of the things coming out, that's part of what kind of sold me on Soundwave. It's like, well, if I buy this, it's not like it has to be a one-off. There's going to be other stuff coming out still to supplement it that I'm probably going to want to buy.
Yeah.
So anyway, picking up Ravage when I found him in Walmart, it's just like, people can reach into the package and fiddle around with this toy. You better make sure that it's all there. Like there's a big package at Walmart right now of
the Star Wars one.
I don't understand why, but it's and I did take a picture of it actually. It's these 5 POA Star Wars toys, and there's Grogu at the top, and Mando, and a couple of other figures. And for whatever reason, at Walmart, 2 of the things that have been stolen are Darth Vader. It's like they left Grogu, and they stole Darth Vader. That's not what I expected to happen with that package.
I know. I remember you. Was it you or Adam that sent an image in the group about that, saying, "I expect to never see this with a Grogu in it ever again," kind of thing.
Yeah, I think Adam had said that, and then I saw the package, and it was Darth Vader that was missing. It was very strange. And then there was the whole LeBron James thing that happened with all of the heads going missing.
Yeah.
So some of this open package stuff, it's just kind of like, with a Transformer, a lot of that stuff is pinned together. And Ravage's accessories were so far down in the package that I don't think somebody would have seen them to be tempted to steal them. But
there's the argument
with the G.I. Joe, the heads are going to go missing if they actually have them touchable.
Yeah. I think I'm happy personally. I don't know about you, Justin, but I'm happy to just see that artwork in more, emblazoned, more space given to it. Would you? Are you in that kind of camp, or do you prefer that kind of to be able to see the figure?
No, I don't mind not being able to see the figure. I'm fine with the closed off box. I mean, I'm in a situation. It may not be so bad now that I've actually got a local Target, but I got so few toys locally on the shelves anyway that I was ordering everything online. So it really, I don't need to see the thing and touch it because I'm just ordering online anyway. But now that I do have a local Target, and eventually maybe you'll be able to go in there more regularly. It'll be interesting to see kind of how they've got that stuff set up and staged, and I think seeing the image on the box is okay with me. This is it's a step in the right direction for Hasbro. I think I do kind of question a little bit because I think they've also announced they're going to be doing NFTs, and I know NFTs are notoriously ecologically unfriendly. So I'm
the whole thing, doesn't it? A bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure kind of what they're. I don't know how much of this is lip service and how much of their culture is truly supporting this sort of thing. But I think that's a discussion for a different show, not necessarily this one. But I'm glad they're taking this step. It is a step in the right direction, and I haven't experienced what having a toy without any plastic packaging is like yet. But I guess we'll see what happens when it does. I mean, I typically, I've got a pretty universal plastic recycling program near me, so everything ends up in recycling anyway. I just have to kind of sort it a little bit differently, but we'll see sort of how that goes going forward. But I'm interested to see kind of how it all shakes out.
From a personal standpoint, I don't mind it at all. I know a lot of people are concerned about how it's going to phase from the packaging, how it's going to look next to each other in kind of like display. And I kind of look at it like, well, I've actually had all my figures out, and you know, the different art and the different size in deluxe boxes and all sorts kind of knock it all over the place anyway. So if the number's still on there, or if like, you know, the side panel still has the same artwork or the same information artwork on it, then I don't think it's going to be too jarring in terms of like, whoa, that's completely different.
Yeah, that's a good point about the classified stuff. I hadn't really looked at it in that way, because so much of that case is kind of open plastic. So yeah, it will definitely change how that looks from the front. But yeah, I mean, on the side, I guess, you know, if you're stacking everything kind of side to side, then you won't notice so much, but there will definitely be a difference.
I'm kind of wondering how, I think that the approach that they've had, some of the art I honestly haven't liked, some of it I've really liked, but it's all been different. And that approach is working for them, I think, because it gives the opportunity to highlight a new artist each time. It makes it so that there's no pressure for the artist to maintain a specific style. Yeah. But I wonder if they're going to go with that, without the figure being visible, how much of the package can be just that art and yet still look like it's a coherent brand on the shelf? Because you're going to have a lot of it just say G.I. Joe on the front of it. It's not like we're going to be able to do what they've shown us with that Viper pack. Maybe they are. Maybe they have.
I will say that Viper pack looked gorgeous, though, with that art just all the way across it and everything. And they've done a good job on that. I think there is an element here of wait and see what it actually looks like, though, Pat. Yeah, I think you're right there.
If you're getting it through the mail, there's not really a reason for a window box that much to me. No. So to get the art in a larger size that you'll be able to see the detail more, I think it works, especially for that Viper pack.
Absolutely.
I just think of some of the art that I have not loved that much that's been on some of the packages, and seeing that, you know, as the main thing in the toy aisle. Like, I thought that the Destro one, like the Prophet Director Destro one, was an interesting one, but honestly, for the style of it, I would have expected a super deformed Destro to be inside if I was a consumer,
because of the
just walking into Target.
Yeah.
You know, so I really don't think that art would work at all for a package that didn't have a window for a box.
Do you think they'll just do the open box, you know, without the plastic, like you guys mentioned with the Star Wars thing, or does that risk too much stuff getting?
I couldn't see them doing that with classified, because it's too, like, it's like a lot of valuable assets can be taken, and I think. And I say a thief is going to thief no matter what. Like if they see it,
you don't want to make it easier for them.
But you're right. You're removing a barrier that's in their way. Pretty clear.
Making it easier for figure swappers as well.
Yeah,
absolutely,
exactly,
absolutely.
Yeah, that brings up interesting. You know, I hadn't really thought about it in that way, but I mean, you got to think the packaging style is going to change pretty considerably going forward. It will be a little bit jarring, I think. I don't think it's going to blend with what's come so far, at least from the front.
From the front, definitely. Yeah, right. Agreed.
And considering how much effort and energy and time they're clearly putting into making each one kind of uniquely its own thing with the artwork, you do have to wonder how that's going to be affected going forward. Because as Pat said, you know, there's certain artwork that, if not for seeing the figure, you wouldn't really be able to tell what you're getting. So it's very interesting.
I think just one more point, last thing I'm going to say on this, and we'll move on to shout outs. I would say I could imagine they would take that into consideration when doing the artwork from that point onwards, though, because so far they've been working to brief in a corner segment and a side segment. So everything is kind of forced perspective, done in a certain style. I think that will change going forward with the rest of the artwork, and the brief will change, won't it? It'll be like, well, this is on the front, we need it like this, and we need all of these things highlighted. So
we'll get a picture of the figure in the back, I'm sure. That's most definitely what's going to happen. But I think that what catches the attention of people just walking through Target, you know, is going to be changed by not seeing what style figure that is right away from first glance at looking at the box.
Yeah, that's a good point. Totally.
I suspect we may lose the artwork on the back, and they may show an actual picture of the toy on the back instead.
Like Marvel Legends kind of does. Yeah. That kind of like sexy Dio, sexy lighting one. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, what do you guys think? Are you concerned about the package changes? I mean, as you can tell, we don't give a crap. After talking about it for like half an hour. Right, let's move on then, guys, to shout-outs. Hey there, guys. Just wanted to let you know about an app that I've been helping to develop for a few years now called HOARDAR. But what is HOARDAR, I hear you scream? Well, a number of years ago, I discussed a project with a good friend of mine and now co-owner/developer about an app that could help collectors of all shapes and sizes. I'm talking about the shapes and sizes of the collections, really, but also people. The app would be a place where you could share your new items, build collections and sub-collections, or just browse the feed to see cool things. Well, we made it. We tested it for a number of years, and now it's out there for you to enjoy on iOS or Android devices. You can upload a single item at a time at your own pace and slowly build your collections. You can post status updates that could be related to your collections, like getting a delivery or posting a scene in which you can tag items in that image if you've uploaded them in the past. You can add tags to your items in order to easily search for and find them, and of course to add them into your respective collections. You can like posts, comment on them, or start a conversation with a fellow collector, directly message users you follow, and even add items you see on your feed to your want list. If you prefer to use your computer or laptop, have no fear, you can use the website browser version and even utilise the awesome inventory option, allowing any user to change certain details, add notes, upload bulk items from spreadsheet files, and download a CSV of your entire itemised collection. We made this app for collectors, and we hope that you enjoy using it as much as we enjoyed creating it. Now get to hoarding. And starting off, Justin, you obviously you haven't seen you for, well, were you on last week or the week before that? I can't remember.
I think I was on the week before that. I was not on last week.
Well, go on, just take it away. Any shout outs?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot. I mean, I mentioned it at the beginning of the show. I don't know if you're recording at the time, but it was my birthday a little over a week ago, and I had several hundred Facebook friends, wish me a happy birthday. So just shout out to everybody who took some time out of their busy days to say happy birthday. That was great. It's always a fun thing on that day. Shout out to my family. We had a nice little get together over the weekend that was peaceful and calm, but it was a good time. Awesome. I enjoyed myself, and had a good week since then. So that's really the only shout out I have. I don't think I've gotten anything in recently. I'm kind of looking at my pile of stuff next to my desk and just seeing if there's anything new there, and I don't think I've really gotten anything new since I recorded last. So I think that's it.
So this was the first birthday you're legally allowed to drink, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So congratulations on that. I hope you had a...
Thank you. I've been blistering drunk for 8 days straight.
Amazing. Pat, buddy, any shout outs for yourself, my good man?
Shout out to Philip. I owe him an episode here of Articulated Points in the next 2 days. February is a short month. That's all I'll say about that. I hate Februaries. I really do.
Yeah.
It's a short month and a long month all at the same time, if that's possible.
February always bites me on the butt because I have certain things going out money wise on like the end of the end of the month, and obviously because February's shorter, there's always an issue, and I've changed it in the past and things still anyway February sucks.
Well, I've got something due to one of my publishers on March 1st. I've been going all through this week saying how much time I've got. Now it's like, oh wait, no, I really don't. I've lost 3 days there, so yeah.
Well, that's because you watched 2 streams yesterday. That's why.
Exactly.
And you lost 16 days because of it. Right, I'm going to jump off then with mine. Have you got any more, Pat?
Nope, that's it. Go ahead.
Cool. I will say, obviously, big shout out to the family, to my wonderful wife, Kate. Love you all very much. To Brian Sauer for the awesome graphics that we always have, and they're always fantastic. I will also shout out as well, Brian is involved with this one too. Shout out to Boss Fight Studio for Boss Fest 2022.
Yeah.
In lieu of Toy
Saved
Fair.
That for you on purpose. That's why I didn't mention it.
No, it's fine.
Letting you take that.
Yeah,
whatever.
Whatever. Accident in my ass. In lieu of Toy Fair this year, they decided to do a ton of reveals via videos and online live shows. So I've been a very busy bee. Working on all of those, and there is a lot more to come as well. Actually, it should be finished, I think, by... Yeah, there's still a lot more to come. They've got their...
There's more.
Yeah, so by the time this goes out, they'll still have more to go. There's a big reveal today, actually, as we record this. So you'll know what it is by tomorrow. But yeah,
a very big reveal.
Yeah, huge,
very big.
And so enjoy that. I got my Fresh Monkey Fiction Larry Hama figure this week. So this is the second phase of the figures that went out, and so I've got him with his hat on the card art. Adam Riches, by the way, on the card art. Beautiful nice. Card art. And there's his figure in there, look, with his little hat in a bag.
Yeah.
That's Larry Hama. On a regular card, you flip it round and you've got, again, the beautiful card art. That's actually superb from Adam there.
Yeah, he really nailed that Hama grimace.
It's great. It's perfect,
right,
isn't it?
Oh, man. Perfect. I mean, that is perfect.
So
he's got some talent. I don't know if anybody's told this Richest guy he's got some talent. I don't know. Right. Might go to his head. He's a Dolphins fan too, so
he's all right. They also sent me this, so like a basically an empty clamshell with a nice clean card on it as well. So
beautiful.
Yeah, very interesting kind of maneuver, and also another separate hat in a bag. Interesting. So thank you for that, Fresh Monkey Fiction. That's the only thing I've got in, I think. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the lot, guys. To our patrons, listeners, and viewers, thank you so much for watching, for the amazing support we've had throughout all our live streams recently. It's been incredible. So we're going to be doing loads more live streams because they're just so... I love the interactivity is the best part, and it means I do less editing, like this episode. Not. Lads, thank you so much for jumping on. Justin, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you jumping on, and Pat, obviously, the same to you, my man.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me on again.
My pleasure.
Always. That was good. A little back and forth there, like avoided each other. I liked it.
I avoid Pat whenever necessary, whenever I can. I'm just kidding. I miss Pat. I miss you. I miss you too. I miss both of you guys.
It's always more fun whenever Justin's on, because we actually, I could feel the conversation being elevated this time. Actually having a lot more back and forth and points to bring up and counterpoints is fun.
Yeah, I think 3 is a good number, isn't it, for these kind of things? Hopefully one day we'll be able to do this around a table and we'll be able to do it face to face. That'd be fantastic.
That'd be great.
It's going to take some epic road trips, though, isn't it? Basically, maybe we should all meet.
We're pretty close to each other, Chris. I think it's on Pat. Pat's got to get his ass in the car and drive out east.
Yeah, Pat, what are you doing, mate? Oh, well, let's meet at the New Jersey American Dream place, Toys R Us, and
there you go.
We'll do that. We'll have a day out.
Yeah, we wouldn't be distracted at all. We'd stay on point and sit down at a table and do a podcast.
Could you imagine me bringing all the audio equipment into like the food hall at American Dream? Just like, yeah, good background sounds. Oh, my goodness. Anyway. That brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you for watching The Full Force Weekly. Massive thank you to my awesome co-hosts, Patrick Notpicard Stewart and Justin GeneralsJoes Bell. See you next time. And as always, after 3, 1, 2, 3, Full Force! Brilliant.
Beautiful.
I love how Pat's got it on point now. He leaves it a little, or he goes in early, don't you? Because you know you're on a delay.
Yeah, I found going in early is because if I watch the episode in order to see how poorly timed I was, I learn how my delay affects me.
I love it. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/TheFullForce, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/TheFullForce podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.